Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast Superhero Edition. I know after a long absence, we already got back-to-back episodes for y'all. Today, we're going to be reviewing Captain Marvel that just came out this weekend. So, before we start, spoilers, major spoilers ahead. We got the captain with us, Mr. Byron Mitchell. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, another MCU movie in the books and a lot of things to talk about. So where do you want to start?
We can start with the review and work our way from there.
Okay. What were your thoughts on the movie?
Overall, I thought it was really, really good. It made about 47 million in domestic sales, according to CNN Business, when I looked earlier. I felt like a lot of it was due to a lack of promotion from the actors, due to the
Yes.
writers and actors strike, that just ended earlier this week, for the actor strike. But I thought it was really, really well done. Brie Larson, Tiana Paris, and Imani Vellani have a really good chemistry throughout the film and have had some really beautiful moments together. The plot is basically that Darben is trying to restore Hala's atmosphere by creating jump points into resources, like the atmosphere and water from other planets. She can basically do that with one of the bangles that Miss Marvel wears, which is Kree technology that we found out in this movie. And that's basically how the Marvel's powers got entangled. We find out later in the movie that Darben has a personal vendetta against Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel is the reason that Hala's atmosphere is shit because she killed the Supreme Sovereign because of what happened in the first movie. There were some really great fights in the movie centered around their spot switching, like that first fight where they're figuring out what's happening. And Darban finally gets Miss Marvel's other bangle at the end and basically disintegrates while creating a big hole in the time-space continuum. Because of Monica's powers, she's basically the only one that's able to close a hole. So she absorbs Carol and Kamala's powers and closes it from the inside and is lost into another dimension. Carol goes to restart Hala's sun to fix her past mistake, and Kamala decides she wants to create a team of her own and recruits Kate Bishop as her first team member. So we may be getting the MCU's version of the Young Avengers. But overall, this movie is great. I definitely recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, to go see it.
Yeah. So I agree. I really like the movie. I would say biggest thing with the financial thing is this was the first MCU movie where they could not promote anything.
Hmm.
Like the strike literally ended the day like after the movie first came out. So then they could go on promotion tours and thing like that. That's just tough. And that's what a lot of these movies have suffered these past couple months, not being able to promote your stuff. I mean, the strike happened during the promotion for Oppenheimer and Barbie. I mean, if you remember that,
Hmm.
it literally, once they got the word they were on strike, all of the people left the promotion and walked out.
Yep.
So that's things with that. Yeah, but I like the movie too. I mean, with the Young Avengers thing, just going back to Kamala, Kate Bishop, and obviously she already named Ant-Man's daughter, so we're gonna probably
Hmm.
get that. Don't know where that's gonna pay off. But Byron, this movie, it answered some questions for me. It really did. The biggest one, why Carol Danvers did not come back to Earth.
It definitely answered that one, which I was surprised. So basically, she didn't come back to Earth because she messed up Hala's atmosphere and she was trying to fix it. And she didn't want to come back and face Monica because she wanted basically Monica to think that she was like the perfect person and didn't want to come back until she fixed everything to keep that image free in Monica's mind.
Yeah, because they were calling her the Annihilator there because she ruined
Hmm.
their world, and she thought that was the only way, and things of that nature. So that was a good thing. I would even say before even the movie, it's funny how we came out with our episode, and literally Monday Night Football, they drop a Heat Captain Marvel 2 trailer with Tony
Heat.
and Captain America, and you're like, hey, yo, you're like,
Like, why y'all drop that after we record?
mhm. And I was interesting how those were the only two OG Avengers showed in that trailer.
Hmm.
So my thing Why? Well, I thought they showed that those two is because those two were seen as more the leaders of the Avengers. Obviously, after
Hmm.
the Thanos thing, Black Widow was more the leader because she was the one still holding, and Tony was off with Pepper, and Cap was doing Sam's job, and she was holding that group of Avengers together. But those are the
Hmm.
two main leaders. So I was like, are you showing these two, then showing Captain Marvel how she's going to be the main leader of the Avengers, going to be one of the leaders? Like that's how I saw that symbolism.
I just found it strange. I was like, maybe they are really going forward with the empty rumor of the original six coming back together. Because like that rumor came out, and then the trailer dropped, and like you said, Tony was shown. I was like, is this them confirming that the original six is
And
coming back?
Steve.
And Steve, I was like, but the trailer was heat. The trailer was definitely heat.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. I just felt like I was like, oh, we symbolizing this is the new leader. But so that was good. Finally hearing why she didn't come back, but and then hearing like Monica's thing, like that was tough. How Monica got snapped away by Thanos when her
Hmm.
mom had cancer, pretty much.
Hmm.
And then you come back from the thing, you don't know you've been gone for 5 years to find out your mom died from cancer, and Carol never came to check on you.
Yeah, that was a very emotional scene, and I just like the way that Kamala, like after hearing about Monica's grief, just like, all right, let me just give you a hug and bring it in. Captain Marvel, let's give her a big group hug. So that was just a nice bow on that moment.
Yeah, it was weird. It was obviously weird because like she didn't know. She's like, "Wait, you have powers now?" I was like, "Yeah." I got into a
Hmm.
witch's hex. I was like, "Why don't you just say you were in Wanda's hex?" I mean, Carol knows who Wanda is, but
Because it technically wasn't Wanda's sex; it was the other
Agatha.
ones, like Agatha's. Yeah.
I thought she got the I thought she got the powers when she tried to convince uh Wanda that this place wasn't real, and then Wanda blasted her, and then that's when she got it.
So she got it when she was going into the. I guess it was part Scarlet Witch and part Agatha because it was like Agatha symbols on at the end on the basically shield that Scarlet Witch created. So it was like a mixture of both. So as she was trying to cross through the barrier, that's how she got her powers.
That's right. Right. So she has powers. They haven't spoken. Fury's trying to be the middleman in between at the beginning, and then they all three of them at the beginning with the light. Each of them have light based powers, and
Hmm.
they were all warping anytime they use their powers. So it goes off paying off the Miss Marvel season finale because when Miss Marvel because Carol Captain Marvel ended up in Miss Marvel's room, and we're
Yep.
like, what is happening? That paid off because that led directly into the movie, so that was a good payoff too.
Yeah, that was a good scene how they wove the ending of Miss Marvel into the Marvels because Captain Marvel and Kamala switch pay. Well, Captain Marvel switched places with Kamala, but Kamala switched places with Monica, and Monica switched places with Captain Marvel. But the way they explained it was really, really well
Yeah, so you
done.
had that payoff there. So that was good. And then Carol meeting Kamala, because that is her hero and
Hmm.
all of that, calling herself Miss Myers and I mean Miss Myers, Miss Marvel and all of that jazz. So that was really cool. Carol was, kind of cold at the beginning, the usual stuff, the thing that people had an issue with her in Captain Marvel 1.
Hmm.
That was, but then she started softening up too. The scene where they were all like, all right, if we use this power, you switch here, you switch here.
Hmm.
Like, I like that scene a lot. And Kamala, man, I mean, she's new in the game. I know she's the hero of Jersey City, but the first part where Carol messed up, because if she didn't interfere, that scroll peace treaty thing,
Hmm.
that wouldn't have, what is their race called? The Scrolls and the
And the
Kree.
Kree.
If they didn't mess up, then they wouldn't have blown up their place, but she messed that up because they're like, "Oh, you set the Annihilator on us, so now I'm taking your worlds," type stuff.
Hmm.
She messed that up, and Kamala again, young in the game. That's the first time she saw all those people, like people dying, because she's like, "We're not going to be able to save everyone." Then Carol hit the like, "We're going to save as many. We save as many as we can." I was like, "Oh man." So that had
Yeah.
her, that hit her, and you saw that hit her a certain type of way.
Yeah, she was not cool. It's like because she was trying to save as many, well, more than as many as she could. She was trying to save them all, but
Mm-hmm.
just one of those tough choices you have to make as an Avenger or a superhero.
Yeah, so she saw that at the beginning. That wasn't good for her. And so she was feeling the type of way about that. And then when they went into each other's heads and did all that stuff, you had the emotional stuff. So that was good. And then the fight scenes, I like the fight scenes with all of them working together against the final boss.
Hmm.
That was cool. I mean, it was nice and quick. You had Fury, obviously Nick Fury in the movie, the real Nick Fury, not a scroll or anything like that. He was in there, Kamal's family in there, seeing their
Hmm.
interactions with all that stuff. And, you know, Kamal's still a high school girl talking about she'll drop out of high school. And Carol's like, oh, don't do that. And, but her parents and all that. So I felt like that was good. I also believe this is the thing. So when the scrolls were there and Carol's like, oh, I called in a friend. Here comes Valkyrie
Hmm.
in a suit with the Bifrost. You're like, oh, take these people. I'm like, all right, you're cool with Valkyrie, all that stuff. I'm like, damn, bro, we're talking about like dimensions tearing apart, and you ain't gonna call for some more help.
She wanted to do it on her own. She didn't even want to team up with Monica and Kamala. Like if they weren't there, she definitely would have tried to do it on her own
And she
like
would
she's
have
been
failed.
doing. She would definitely would have failed because I don't know how she was stopping Darbin warping realities, but hey,
Yeah, you
she was gonna
needed the
try as
other
hard as she
band, you needed
could.
all these powers. Yeah, she would have failed because she was like, oh, we're gonna take the air here, we're gonna take the water here at the sing
We're
along planet, which was fun.
No, it's fine. And
And
then
then
she's like, "Well,
Kamala,
we're gonna take Earth, Sun too." I'm like,
and I'm like,
damn.
okay. So that's why I'm like, so we're taking Earth Sun, but you ain't like Nicholas, you ain't gonna call nobody.
Right,
So
bro.
it goes back to every superhero post movie pod so far. Where the hell are the Avengers?
I don't know. I don't know if we'll get that answer in the next year.
Which I feel like that's going to be a problem because oh, I need these. There's been so many movies that have come out, and I'm going to look for the exact thing on that. But it's like the sun is coming out, like the sun is being taken, and
Right.
everyone's just chilling at home,
Just chilling at home.
like not
And the
not
reason
camp
why
at
I
all.
say we probably won't get it within the next year, because after the actor strike, Marvel came out and announced a whole new slew of release dates. So Deadpool 3 is being pushed back to July 26, 2024. Captain America 4 is supposed to come out next year, but it's not coming out until February 14th of 2025. Fantastic Four is not coming out until May 2nd of 2025. Thunderbolts is not coming out until July 25th, 2025, and then Blade will be the last movie November 7th of 2025. So we only have one Marvel movie coming out next year, which is going to be weird because we're used to having at least three or four each year. So that's going to be weird, but maybe it'll help with this whole superhero fatigue that people are feeling.
I don't know. I don't think it's fairly. I think that's. I think anytime someone a movie does not to their standards, they say superhero fatigue. But
Hmm.
literally, Guardians 3 came out this year, and that was one of the best movies they've made in a long time. People say that's the best movie of since like well, the signature the best since Endgame.
Yeah.
And that was one of the highest grossing movies this year. So, but Byron, these post credit scenes, I think the problem with the MCU, these post credit scenes aren't all connecting. That's the problem. Like here, are
No.
the credit scenes like Eternals, we had because that was Blade's voice, is Blade and Dane, like when he
Hmm.
asked him if he was ready to put on that armor or whatever. And obviously we had the judge and they had the Harry Styles
Hmm.
as Thanos' brother. Those were two scenes in one movie. We don't know what's happening with that.
Hmm.
Charlize Theron is Cleo with Doctor Strange. We don't know what's happening with that.
Hmm.
Shang-Chi was literally with the Avengers. Like his bands, I almost thought he was going to be in this movie because when they were looking for the artifact thing, I thought his thing was
Hmm.
one of those artifacts. So like it's calling a beacon to who?
Yep. We still
I'm
don't know
like,
to who.
in that end credit scene, it was him, Hulk, Wong, and Carol
Hmm.
Danvers.
Hmm.
So he's met them, like, so that didn't do anything. You had Venom, quote unquote, in the end credit scene of Spider Man.
Hmm.
You had Hercules at the end credit scene of Thor, so we think he's going to be hunting down Thor. And then the
Hmm.
Marvel's end credit scene is like when it was the Infinity Saga, all the end credit scenes were going to Thanos. Like that was
Hmm.
the Infinity Stones. That was the goal. We're all building these end credit scenes. Were also building on the other movies. We don't know what these scenes are building to, and I
True.
think that's pissing people off.
It is because like they're not announcing movies tied in with the end credit scene. Like the only movie they've announced so far that ties within one of the end credit scenes is Blade from Eternals and him talking about are you gonna put the Black Knight suit on? So like that's the only basically connecting movie we have so far out of these. There's been no announcement of a Shang-Chi sequel. There's been no announcement of a Doctor Strange 3. There's been no announcement of if the Sony Spider-Verse is going to tie in with the MCU because of Venom. So there's just a lot of loose ends. And then with this post-credit scene for the Marvels, Monica Rambeau basically wakes up in the X-Men universe. She sees a variant that looks like her mom that's not her mom. And then she sees Beast, and Beast is like, well, Charles wants to know, like, what's going on with her. So basically teasing the MCU X-Men.
Well, yeah, because the mom is playing. Well, not the variant of the mom is a cosmic hero. She's binary in that universe,
Yeah, which is
and
like
it wasn't
another
just
version of Captain Marvel.
pretty much, and it wasn't just any beast. Like that was Kelsey Grammer.
Yes,
So that's
the
like
original
X Men.
Beast.
They have the X-Men 2 theme playing. So that's like right in their universe.
Hmm.
So you have Monica now in basically the X-Men 2 universe, where this might be the first end credit scene that leads to more importance because Deadpool is the next movie. Because people are
Hmm.
wondering, like, how is Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine going to interact? Like, this might be the key.
Yeah, that might be the key as well. Also, kind of ties in with Miss Marvel's like end credit scene because at the end it comes out that basically she's a mutant, and then the X-Men '90s theme is playing in the background. So we at least had two teases to the X-Men coming to the MCU.
So that's why it's interesting because it's like with Kelsey Grammer's Beast and not Nicholas Holt Days of Future Past Beast,
Hmm.
it's like, are we getting the old cast together? Is this why Hugh
Uh,
Jackman came back? Are we getting the old original Halle Berry, all of them? Are we getting that cast back?
I don't know. It would be cool to see if they want to go with like the older versions of the X-Men that first came out, or if they want to go with like the younger version of the X-Men, or simply get a whole new cast. We don't know.
Because, all right, so Secret Wars is supposed to be Avengers 4,
Um,
or is that Avengers 5?
Avengers 6 because Kang
Oh, yeah,
Dynasty
what
is
am I
supposed to be
talking
the
about? We've
next
already had
one.
Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know the exact. We don't even have a date, do we?
Now we had a date, but then with the strikes, they're probably going to be pushed back to like 2027 and 2028. So
Okay.
they're supposed to be released a year apart, like Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, Secret War released. Yeah, this is the sixth one. God, May 2027. I know we're about to enter 2024. That's still 3 years away.
Yeah.
Like, That's the thing. Kang Dynasty is supposed to come out in 2026. We're gonna see what filming is scheduled for Kang in 2024. Early.
Mm,
That means they gotta to go back to our previous thing, they gotta make a decision.
yeah, November 29th is coming up soon, so hopefully we'll have a concrete decision after that.
Well, since it's so far away. Well, here's my thing now. Depending on how the Kang stuff goes and all that, what if, and I'm thinking now, Secret Wars is probably going to be a little different, but what if it comes down to the Avengers versus the X-Men? Because they said that that universe is very similar to their current universe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how Doctor Strange comes back with, the stuff that he was doing with like the incursions or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's an incursion between the two universes and you can only save one? Of course, both sides are going to fight the other to.
Oh,
That might be that might be how everything gets tied in.
that would be a heat movie if that was the premise.
Because maybe all the effects of Kang stuff, they finally beat Kang, but they're like, we got a problem. Maybe because I think it was Secret Wars that they said like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and like
Uh,
Peter, Tom. These are all rumors, all people
yeah,
rumors. Hugh Jackman and like Maguire and all them coming back are going to be like
yeah.
major parts in that movie. But what if they all band together somehow? They beat Kang, but after Kang, Doctor Strange is like, we can only save one or the other, and then Secret Wars happens.
Like, who do you save though?
Well, they're gonna have to fight it out.
Oh my God. Oh my God. If that's a movie, oh my God, that would be so
So then
heat.
they're like, so then they're fighting all that stuff, and the MCU people are like, we're gonna need more power and all this stuff, and then so that's when the people say something reckless. They're like, well, what if we bring these three back to life?
Oh, the original three?
Cap,
Damn.
Widow, and Iron
Iron
Man, or they
Man.
say something like, we need super brains, like we need some tech. It was like, well, I mean, we can bring to like we need a leader, we need the true leader. It's like we need Steve, and like it could like they could that might be the reason like they would understand we're bringing them back to life because we need them or this universe that they died for goes.
Man. Man. I like that idea. That's a very smooth idea.
Like that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
That'd be a good way to reintroduce the three, because outside of that, I don't know how you bring them back to life. Because we've had the
If
time.
that's what they're trying to
Yeah.
do. So those were
Yeah,
rumors because they were
rumors. Yeah. If that's what they're trying to do, that would be definitely a smooth way to bring him back.
mad that things weren't going well. The Variety came out with that stuff like, oh, it's not going the way it's supposed to go, and all of that. So we'll see, man. We'll like it would be something, but I think that's what's gonna happen. We might get some Avengers versus X-Men. It might be a misunderstanding. They might be manipulated.
Hmm. I mean, they were talking about bringing Doctor Doom in, so Doctor Doom could manipulate that X-Men to fighting the Avengers.
That's true. Like, how does he get tied into this? Like Kang and all of that, and there's a lot of different times because Kang's still around. I mean, now you had because you want to talk tie it. You had the end of Loki that happened, Byron. What happened there?
Yeah, so the Loki season 2 finale came out on Thursday. I watched it Friday on my day off. So in this episode, Loki is trying to go back in time over and over again to try and fix the loom. and save the multiple branching timelines. It's not working, so he realizes that he has to go back to when He Who Remains was killed and fix that point in time. So his choice is either to convince Sophie not to do it or kill Sophie. He keeps going back in time to that point because it's not working. She keeps killing He Who Remains. So eventually, one time, He Who Remains pauses Sophie in time so he can talk with Loki because he realizes that he's been trying to come back in time so many times to fix that point in time. So he basically tells Loki that the loom is a failsafe to keep the sacred timeline safe and prune as many branches it can to keep the sacred timeline safe. So basically, Loki says it's time to change the equation and break the loom. He Who Remains says that if he does that, that he's going to cause a war, that he's not going to win, and that everything will cease to exist, basically. Loki goes back to the present, breaks the loom, takes the dying timelines and put like his own energy into them, creates a throne, and is now basically sitting alone outside of time, keeping the branches safe. He fashions the timeline to look like Yggdrasil, which is the world tree based on Norse mythology. And it, the ending just had me in the feels because, like, possibly we're never going to see Loki again because they said they're not coming out with a Loki season three.
Oh, you
That
can.
yeah, you can't after that. Um, and he Loki has had like one of the greatest arcs in the MCU. He went from a villain wanting the throne of Asgard to being a selfless hero who just wanted to protect his friends and all the innocent people from dying.
It's interesting, man, because like you said, now he's pretty much not the god of mischief, the god of like time now, and he's alone, just watching like this time stream, and you still got Kang, like
Yeah, so Kang is still alive. The TVA is basically now trying to protect the timelines from Kang. But they're trying to go after his variants now to make sure they're not causing mischief.
and you, it's crazy because now we won't get that thing with him and Thor.
Mm-mm.
Thor will never know what he did, like all that stuff, and the other Asgardians and all of that. So it's crazy how that ended because obviously Kang is master manipulator time, and Kang Dynasty's next up, still the next movie to our knowledge. And
Mm-hmm.
where do we go? Like, there was also some things I wanted to, because some people were given unfair criticism of the movie. I saw one of the dumbest things saying that, like, oh, Kamala was fangirling too much over Captain Marvel. I was like, one, the people who bitch about comic accuracy, that is literally her character. She loves Captain
Mm-hmm.
Marvel. Two, y'all weren't out here bitching when they made this fake and Tom Holland Spider Man was gooing over Tony Stark.
I saw that on Twitter too. Oh, yeah,
Or the thing
comic
where,
book
like,
accurate, man.
or the people who they didn't want to go see the movie because it was three women in the lead. Like, come
That's
on,
the
man.
dumbest thing ever. Like, support women, man. It's a good movie. If you don't want to see it because you just don't want to see it because you're not a big fan of Captain Marvel or didn't want to see or didn't see Miss Marvel, that's fine, but don't make dumbass excuses.
Yeah, and I like this movie more than I like the original Captain Marvel.
Oh, same. This is
It,
definitely a different tone than what
mm-hmm.
the first one is, and I think this worked out so much better than the first one did.
So that was interesting, and for the fact too, I mean, Miss Marvel, like we said on the pre, she stole the movie, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like she was good everywhere she was at, and I'm excited for her future. But again, I think the biggest problem people have is where are we going? Like we don't have an Avengers movie for years.
Yeah, whole 3 years. So basically, the next 3 years will be building up to Kang Dynasty, but nothing outside of Ant-Man, um, Quantumania, and Loki season one and two have mentioned Kang. at all.
And it's funny too because these movies are so quasi. These movies are still on dates on like the wiki. Like Fantastic Four is supposed to release May 2nd, 2025. Like these have I don't know if these or Thunderbolts July 25th, 2025. Blade November 7th, 2025. Like what?
Yeah, those are the updated dates because Deadpool 3 is the only one coming out next year. Then there's like four or five coming out in 2025.
Yeah. So yep, because they have De- Deadpool 3 July 26th, and then
Yeah,
Captain America February 14th, 2025. So yeah, you're right. Updated.
that the I guess the strangest one to me is Captain America 4 being pushed back a whole year because they basically said over the summer that it was done.
I did see they had to do some reshoots.
Okay, I didn't see that.
I don't even know what you're gonna do in that movie.
I don't I don't know. I don't know who the bad guy is. But we won't get a trailer until the end of 2024.
Like that's what I'm so interested in. Like who like what are we doing? What are we doing in this movie?
Like the only one premise that I know sort of is that Deadpool 3 has something to do with the TVA because it's rumored that Miss Minutes is going to be in or have a role, like a prominent role in um Deadpool 3.
Like for I'm yeah, in the Captain America thing, I'm looking at the thing like they got Betsy Ross coming back. Like, bro, you haven't been here since Hulk 1, dude. Like you were the former
Mhm.
girlfriend.
Right.
It'll be interesting. Like Hulk's bad guys are in this movie, and Hulk's people, but Hulk's not.
He might make an appearance, especially if they're doing reshoots.
Interesting. And then Deadpool, we all are just wondering, it's like, how are we not gonna ruin Logan? We cannot ruin Logan's ending.
It came out that the director of Deadpool 3 said that the ending of not Loki, excuse me, Logan is canon, which is because it's before he dies. Well, actually, it would have to be before he dies.
Way before he dies.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. All right. And that's the next movie. That's next year. So let's see. That is July. If they want to, they can have their first trailer Super Bowl weekend. If you want to,
They should have their first trailer Super Bowl weekend because I know, like, the last couple of big movies, they've been waiting to drop their trailers late.
oh yeah, yeah, it's been crazy. All right. Anything else, Byron?
Um, the only thing, I guess the other thing is that this is not MCU related, but it recently was the 1 year anniversary of Kevin Conroy's passing.
Yep, 1 year anniversary of that passing. It's been obviously tough for anyone who Batman fans, DC in
Hmm.
general. So that's been crazy. That's already been a year. So hopefully his family is still healing because and doing what they need to do, take care of themselves and all that. And hopefully DC also figures their stuff out because man, what are they doing with the games, as we say all the time? All right,
Yeah, I
Byron.
need a Batman game
Hmm.
ASAP.
Well, don't hold your breath for it.
I
Byron,
know.
anything else?
No, that's it. We again no DC news, so it's just been strictly Marvel podcast.
And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to. We'll be back relatively soon because I mean we're gonna either preview or just review the last movie in the DCEU, Aquaman.
Uh, yeah, I forgot that came out until I saw the trailer before the Marvels.
That'll be the last one. That'll be the last one, which will be crazy in itself. But with that being said, L7C Podcast signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.